Hello. I'm making this video because there's some things that have just come to my attention and some things I wanted to share with you, some personal things. I was talking to my friend the other night and telling her about all the symptoms I feel and how I feel like I'm gonna die, and I just feel like I'm drunk and stoned 24/7. I'm in that state where it's hard for me to make sense of things, and my mind is just screwed up, and I don't know why. I don't know if it's something physical or psychological, but she seems to think that it could be all the problems that I've had. And rightly so, because the last 2 years have been really hectic, but the last 10 years have been just as hectic, and it just seems like I guess I've never really had a break and a chance to really get over anything. I've just sort of pushed it aside and moved forward and pretend it doesn't bother me. And I think that's my way of dealing with things is just pretending they don't bother me and trying not to care about them so much and just trying to be a good person and hope that I'm not the one causing the problems in my life. But even though I'm not the catalyst of the problems in my life, they still do exist. And it started with, my dad dying when I was 14 years old. He died suddenly over Christmas break. It was one of the saddest days of my life. And I learned to live with it, but that wasn't the end. I mean, it got worse. I think that's what made me angry, is that things didn't get better after his death. They only got worse with my family. I never really talked to my mom before or after he died. She was never very supportive of anything I wanted to do. Especially after he died, she just sort of shut down mentally. And my older brother moved in with us about a year or two after my dad died, and I used to look up to him when I was a child, but I completely resented him after years of living with him after my dad died, because I was verbally abused by him for about 10 years. Him saying things like, "You're a piece of shit, you're worthless, you'll never amount to anything, you're a dumbass, and you're lazy, and my dad would be ashamed of you," and just things like that, completely belittling me and just talking down to me the whole time, and just getting very hostile with me, just getting in my face a lot, and just trying to be like a dad, but a fucked up father figure at that, and just putting me down all the time, and I didn't like that. Just years went by of my family and me just pretty much being at each other's throats all the time, and we moved out of my house that I'd lived in all my life, so that was a big change, and it was, difficult for me. And then about 2 years ago, I went to a bar, I drank, smoked some pot, and that's when all of this started. All my anxiety started coming back. But after that, it didn't end there. When I was trying to deal with the anxiety before the DP or this weird feeling came, my older brother got a DUI and wanted me to drive for him, and I don't get along with him at all, and I told my mother that, but she pressured me into helping him because I had just lost my job. I had just gotten laid off, and then I helped him for a month. I drove him around for a month back and forth to work, and it was fine the first week, but then sure enough, we started arguing and fighting, and I told my mom I didn't want to do it anymore, and then a month was up, and I went home, and he wanted me to stay longer. I said, well, fuck you, I'm not staying longer, I'm an adult. You're lucky I helped you as long as I did, the way you've been treating me, I'm doing you a favor. And I felt really just taken advantage of, and then my family doesn't like dealing with him because he yells a lot, and they're scared that the heat might come down on them, and they just pretty much took his side and just told me how wrong I was. And so with that, I moved out to my cousin's house, but I was pretty much alone all the time. My cousin works out of town a lot, so I had the whole house to myself, which was nice because I didn't have my family bitching at me all the time. But I was isolated a lot, and then my anxiety started coming back, and I didn't want to go anywhere, so I was very isolated and feeling very depressed and lonely. And then while I was living there, my mom almost had a fatal heart attack, and she had to go in for surgery because she had a clogged artery, and I thought I was going to lose my mom now. My brother was still bitching, my older brother was still bitching of how I fucked him over because I didn't want to help him out anymore, and then, I don't know, I never lived that one down. But one night my little brother, I moved back home, and my little brother's friend that he hung out with got drunk and pissed all over my room, and I was very upset about that. And my family did nothing about it to support me. They didn't confront him. They didn't stand behind me, and I felt very just violated. And like, you guys are my family. My friends wouldn't do that to you. I just felt very angry and resentful, and just like, well, I would never do that to you, and you guys, this is your friend. You need to say something to him, and and they didn't care. And then he would come around and start talking shit to me or just saying things, and I just couldn't deal with the stress. I would get so stressed out from all the stuff that I've been dealing with. I would literally just sit there and shake and have a full-blown panic attack, and my heart would pound out of my chest. That's how upset and stressed out I was all the time. And that's pretty much what I lived in, is just a stressed, anxious, panicky world, and for months. And I wouldn't even leave the house because I would be so scared and anxious that something bad was going to happen. And I don't know, that's pretty much what I've been dealing with, and I just wanted to share that with you. And maybe it is just all the stress that I never dealt with, or I don't know what it is. I just thought I would share that, and you guys can let me know what you think.